No wonder.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm all the way back here. I was very struck by the lack of heat. There was no heat. Didn't feel hot. And you were talking a little while ago about breath and creating the sense of calmness.
Yes.
And certainly it was very calm. And as I was watching it, I kept thinking, how come it's so cool? Everything is so cool in every shot. The weather is either raining or there's wind. I didn't see the mugginess or the heat. And was that intentional on your part to not put in any of that?
No contrasty light.
Do you mean heat in a literal sense or heat as in excitement?
No, heat as in literal, like being in Singapore and feeling the heat, the hot.
Okay.
I didn't feel that at all. It just felt very cool, and I don't see that Singapore very often. You know.
I think it might have to do with the fact that the shots are so wide, you don't get to see close-ups of faces. Which might be perspiring.
I mean, a lot of your shots were morning shots too. I noticed. So, I don't know
Or
that
some
was-
lunchtime shots, morning shots.
Maybe it's the color grading.
Could
Because
be as
there
well.
were some shots I noticed that had to be shot just after dawn. For example, the kids coming to school assembly, as well as the Changi Business Park one. The people smoking, and that was probably done like early-ish in the morning, right?
Lunchtime actually.
Already?
Yeah, lunchtime.
See, so I maybe it's got to do with the color
Yeah,
grading.
maybe we
It kind of
made it at a
blends.
slightly cooler end of the spectrum, taking away the really hard edges.
Because one of the things that struck me was for early morning at Manjusri Secondary, you don't really see like shafts of like contrasty morning light in the shots. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I noticed as well.
I mean, it also might have to do with the fact that the scenes that we recorded were rituals that people are comfortable with. So they are very, very comfortable under their skin. So you don't have that kind of, I mean, the people who were in the film themselves knew exactly what they were doing and where they were, without the agitation that one might associate with heat.
Actually, that brings me to another question, if I may. In your shots of the traffic crossings, there were actually very, very few people that walked and stared at the camera. Was that edited out, or did you choose like a shot where as few people looked into the camera as possible, or was the camera there for so long that people just thought it was part of the...
I think maybe because cameras are so pervasive in our lives, nobody looks at cameras anymore.
Okay. They look at mine all the time. And like, give me these looks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's some moments in the film where you actually people look in the camera. You know, like when the man enters the bookshop and he kind of like casts this annoyed look at me, or when during the fire drill and the kids are doing this, you know, signs like this, immortalized. Or when, you know, at Manjusri, when the kid comes in late for school and he gives a cheeky look at the camera. We deliberately left that in, primarily because sometimes, you know, when you go through old archive footage, you actually see exactly that, people coming up to the camera, saying hi to the camera. And when I look at archive footage, which I seem to do a lot of, I always appreciate these moments because I feel as if the people from the past are saying hi to me, or when they look straight at the camera, and then maybe give a smile and then walk away, or a snort and then walk away. So these moments are actually quite precious for a film that tries to be an archive of a time capsule for the future. Yeah.
Would you always be behind the camera?
Where?
Or would you have like please judge the
Oh yeah, no, there was always someone manning the camera. Yeah, I mean, too expensive a piece of equipment to yeah. I mean, because we always shot with two cameras, so sometimes we just leave a camera in one spot while we found around with another camera. The question was, do we always? Is there someone always manning a camera? Yeah.
So that's another question.
Okay. Yeah.
I noticed that you've got wood with other cinematograpers.
Yes.
And my question is related to that scene selection. Who decided what kind of scenes and places to select, what to film? Is it up to the camera, the cinematographers, or was there actually kind of a concept, an idea, and you guys went out to look for
Okay.
some kind of look?
So it started out with trying to imagine what kind of footage would be relevant to someone 50 years from now, and I decided that it would be everyday rituals as a starting point. And when once that was decided, I made a list of the kind of rituals that I personally was very curious about. So everything that you see here, washing a lorry's tires, which happens at every major construction site, or fumigation, assemblies, checking. So we wrote it all down, and then we actually had to hunt these scenes down. Opening ceremonies of. The good thing is this was shot around SG50 period. So we had a lot of commemoration ceremonies, which was also on my list. And of course, many time capsules were being sealed for SG50. And that's how the film came to be about. It became, because we shot so many time capsules, we decided to use the time capsule device to frame these rituals that we were filming. Actually, the time capsule device was not in the original pitch.
Was that kind of deliberate? Because as you say, it's shot around SG50 and it's very celebratory. Was it a conscious or subconscious kind of decision to present something a little bit more realistic against that kind of jubilation? Maybe some people think destructive jubilation.
So, why did it seem so un-SG50? Yeah, no, I see your point. Interestingly,
It's deliberate, but it ended up being that way. So it's not
Yeah.
like, is it a conscious or subconscious?
No, I mean, the thing is the idea of rituals was conceived in 2012, way before the SG50 was in Horizon. And then SG50 happened right in our faces, right? Then I'm like thinking, oh no, I have to deal with the flag waving and flag raising in every situation that I seem to be in. And of course, Lee Kuan Yew's funeral happened right in the middle of it, of which we shot all 7 days, even in the rain. I think in the end, going back to original concept, it was about the dailiness of the scenes. So much as we wanted to put in really, really resplendent funeral footage, this and that, it couldn't find a space in the film. Similarly for all the SG50 celebrations as well. I mean, the most we had was the waiting for the VIP to arrive. Primarily because I was very interested in the fringes and the marginal part of any event. So I wanted to commemorate the people who had to, I don't know whether you had ever to do it, wait for the VIP to arrive, which was occasionally my job. Oh, he's here, I would walkie-talkie. Stand by, VIP arriving. So in a way, the film is given to people whose job is to do that.
Yes.
Is there a reason why this film took 4 years?
Okay, that's one question. Another question?
I was interested in your presence and your decision in terms of the rhythm of the overall thing. Like, you repeated certain scenes in slightly different ways over the course of the film. But I was trying to figure out what the process or the decision was in terms of doing that.
As to why it was repeated or why it was repeated but in different ways.
Like, how you decided the composition of that, not why.
The framing.
The timing of
Oh.
like A, B, C, B, C. A,
Okay, the sequence of the shots. Okay. The film took 4 years to shoot and edit. I mean, it took 4 years to do everything. Couple of reasons. Primarily because it takes a long time to. We were always on standby to find these events. So someone would say, "Hey, fire drill happening in this event." So we would be dashing through, the time capsule that you have been waiting for. Oh, it's finally being exhumed. Come down tomorrow. Then we'll be in a mad scramble to do all that. So it takes some time to gather these scenes. And also in the intervening years, To Singapore with Love was made, as well as 7 Letters, Pineapple Town. but the waiting for these events took time to collect. As for the sequencing of the scenes, we in our edited room we have a lot of post-it pads, and we always every morning we'll do a jigsaw puzzle, re-sequence the scenes and then try it out again to watch it. And what we use to organize is really by feel, a certain rhythm, a watching rhythm, and we made sure that when we were editing to actually try to edit from a very big screen because when you actually watch from a very small screen, things feel a lot shorter. So you might cut too early when you might cut a little bit later if you watch it from a sort of a life-size screen. I mean, it's probably a process of editing that you guys go to.
Yes.
Because you probably have as much footage, much stills
Yeah.
to whittle down.
And okay, there are many photographers here. I see everybody now. So the thing about editing is this: we sometimes kill a lot of trees when we edit because it's much better to print out the images and lay them all out in order to sequence or to decide what pictures work, what pictures don't,
In the sequence.
rather than to do it on a screen. Because in order to see so many images on the screen, the images have to be very small. And when they're very small, you lose things.
Yeah.
You don't see certain nuances or certain parts of the picture that might actually make the image. So what we do very often is we print everything out and then we lay them on the floor.
Yeah.
And then we just take out, put in, and maybe it's old-fashioned, and maybe it's just for the sake of it being very tactile, but it's something that we've been doing since before digital, and even now we're still doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean. We have to project it on the wall in as big as way so that we can actually feel it as well. You know, timing it. Okay, cut at this point.
I think we
Yeah.
have to,
Wrap up.
So
One last question.
Yeah, maybe just one. Yes, over there.
I'm very interested in, I realized that for this film in particular, that your sound
Ah.
really does
Yes.
come out. I did watch your other documentaries before, like Moving House and Simple Gaga. But for this, everything's pretty much, the camera is still, but the sound comes very much alive. I'm just wondering all the design, sound design concept for this film and like what was the intention of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before I answer your question, I just want to hear your question.
No, I was just a bit curious because a lot of the rituals, by definition, are all human rituals. There's one scene that caught my eye that stuck out the polar bear. So I was like, why was there?
It's human also. Inuka was put there by human beings.
Yeah. Why a polar bear in the middle? Okay, good question. Okay, so I'll answer the sound question. I mean, as you know, when we started out, I was very influenced by photography as well. And in fact, my ideal film was not to even have any cuts at all between each scene. There would be just a still. So you feel as if you're flipping through a book of photographs. But of course, some scenes we had more than one, but oftentimes it was just one static shot. And because we hold the shot for so long, and this is a film to be watched in a cinema, not in an installation or what, the sound suddenly has a very, very important role. Because it helps you decide where to put your eye to in each point in time. And in that movement from one corner of the frame to another, that a conversation in your mind is happening with the image that you're watching. So with the editor, with the sound supervisor, that's something we talked very carefully about. Okay, at this point in time, how do you want your viewers' eyes to roam on the screen? So that was the first part. And then the other question is, there are some parts of the scene which doesn't feel like it's from this part of the world. It almost feels futuristic, and that's also very deliberate as well. Because one of the things I'm hoping for this film is that you don't get a sense of nowness, you get a sense of past, present, and future all at the same time, which is what a time capsule is about. Yeah, so in those scenes where you drift into another time space, the sound you hear doesn't feel, corporeal anymore. As for Anuka, I had to find a place to put my favorite polar bear. My favorite because for me, I just think it's really weird. He's probably the last polar bear born in the tropics to exist. And I think this is, a very valuable Singaporean to remember. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need to vacate.
Yeah.
Because there's another screen. Thank you.
If this film